Now, this part of procrastination, it means the postponement. Why people delay the things? Why people postpone the things? What are those factors which compel them to postpone the things? I think the few points we can take up in this particular segment of procrastination, how to avoid. First thing first, do it. Do it means you need to do it. You must do it. If you know how to do it, please go ahead and do it within the time limit. If you still think that it is important, then you must attempt it. But after proper analysis, if you think that this is not that important nor it is urgent, so it is not required, you can delete it from your priority list. You can remove it or keep it for a next date, next week, next month, when it will be required. But today, if it is not required, or this week if it is not required, please delete it from your priority list. And if you think that you are overburdened, you can't do it, and not possible for you in immediate sense, and you already have got 4 or 5 tasks at your hand, then maybe you have got some able subordinates with you. Those who have the capability, have the potential, have the capacities, have the ability, who can handle these kind of tasks or portfolios, then you can delegate it to them if you trust them. So trust comes in between. And then if job has been completed, then reward the people, appreciate them. Appreciation is something which is, I call it a perishable commodity. If today a job has been done nicely, beautifully, so today itself this job must be appreciated. If suppose I am having food somewhere and I find the food delicious, and the person who's serving me, he asks me, how's the food? And I simply don't say anything, then he may feel bad actually. Or maybe I come next day and then say, yesterday your food was very good, but yesterday you never appreciated it. Nah? So I say it's perishable in the nature. If food was good, appreciate now, tell it now, express it now. So reward can be in many ways. It can be an appreciation, it can be a letter, it can be few kind words. Then removing the distractions is also one of the major factors in avoiding the procrastination. Make a list. What distracts you most? Write down. Take a diary. Pick up your pen. Write down. What happens? Sometimes we have to pause. When we are sitting, and we have to sit and pause for some time and think what I have been doing for last 1 hour, 2 hours. Was it planned? Was it as per priority? Had it some objective? Has it given some dividends or rewards or returns? Pause and think. But we are not in habit of having the pauses. We either run or sit. And that's a major problem. How many times we do sit and think? Never. Very rarely. We never give ourselves this opportunity basically to think, pause and restart. We just simply move on with the flow of this world through the forces which are outside, external forces. So distraction can be many. It can be a mobile phone, it can be calls, it can be visitors, it can be any other thing which can distract you. So you need to be aware what distracts you. Then there is a 15-minute rule in management, and it means we need to list the things which are most important, then the things which are less important, then the things which are least important. So the most important should be given the time first, less important than next stage, and least important if needed, then it can be postponed. If not needed, remove it, delete it. Or sometimes you can cut your job into some pieces to see your performance. You can seek the advice, but see to it that deadlines are kept. If deadlines are kept, then you won't feel frustrated. You won't feel, you can say, disappointed. And this disappointment or frustration is not with the tasks you have at your hand. This frustration is with you actually. Yes, because people comes first. Task comes second. I just talked about the word delegation. The delegation means, here I say sometimes no one is an island and you can accomplish a lot more with help. It means we need to realize that we have some assets in our family, we have some assets in our professional field. How well utilized those assets are, how you value them. Because if you value these things, the things will become hunky-dory, or what we call in simple terms rosy-rosy. But if we think that we'll do all and then we'll take credit of each and everything, then I think you are doing injustice to your own brain power and doing great injustice to the brain power or capacity which are at your disposal, available in your office or elsewhere. It also means that you make the people more responsible. You feel that people are responsible and then they can take up additional responsibility. You can have some kind of concrete goals and deadlines and then think about its consequences. But trust is first. Now trust, from where trust comes? Trust actually comes basically at interpersonal level. Who can be trusted? The story begins from the self. And the quality at the level of self is called trustworthiness. Being a trustworthy person, you need to have character and you need to have the skill sets or competence. Only then you can be trustworthy. Once you have the character and you have the requisite competence or skill levels, then the job can be delegated to you by your bosses or superiors. It means they have trust in you. So trustworthiness comes at the self level, and the trust comes at the level of interpersonal, you can say, me to you and me to many, or you to many, or you to one person. It means trust is a bond, trust is a glue, trust is a cement, trust is a kind of Fevicol which puts the people together. And the basic elements is your character and capability, the competence. So it means if you respect the people and you feel that they have the capacity and capability, and then you trust them that they can conform to a job or a task, it means you are basically trying to respect those set of people, you are respecting their abilities. And that increases the confidence level of not just you, but those people who have been assigned with these so-called new responsibilities. That's how you empower the people. This empowerment is a very powerful word. It comes from trust. It comes from capabilities. It comes from realization of that a person has got immense potential. And due to that, a person gets nurtured, looked after, or maybe trained. But that spark should be there. That fire, that initiative should be there in a person wherein he can be trusted for that. Sometimes it happens that if you see, if you take the case of the cricket team in India, that we tend to have faith in some of very young boys. Like recently, the Prithvi Shaw had come into the Indian team and he's very, very young. Sachin Tendulkar came very young into the Indian team. At very early age, the Cricket Control Board and the people had faith in the abilities of these boys. And this faith, this belief, this trust sometimes works wonder, because then they come out, as you can say, with a sterling performance at various levels. Similarly, one of the most important things which can be called a time waster, if not held properly, are basically your meetings. How much time the meetings do consume on everyday basis? Have you ever thought? What is the proportion of communication between the people in office? Depending on the levels, at certain level, at the top level, 80 to 90%, it's only communication. And this communication means you're calling the people for meeting to get the statistics, data, statements, or maybe meeting for future plannings, strategies, implementations, or for any other thing related with the industry. And these meetings can be a efficient and effective tool, provided they are being carried out in that manner. An average executive in a company spends almost 40% of the time in the meetings, meeting with clients, internal meeting with the bosses, your own colleagues, or with your subordinates, or with some outside customers, or maybe any other person which may be required in the course of business. Now, 40% of the time, if it is utilized in meeting the people, then we need to assess how much productive time was there in that meet. We sometimes don't do these kinds of assessments. That the meeting time which we had devoted for 1 hour or 2 hours or 1.5 hours or 30 minutes, how much was really productive, and whether they have yielded some kind of returns or dividends. It means the meetings which are unduly long are basically nothing but chit chats. They won't provide you anything in tangible terms, in practical terms. So any meeting lasting for more than 1 hour, unless it's really desired or it is based on the, say, some mega objective. Otherwise, any meeting lasting more than 30 minutes or 1 hour is, I think it becomes non-productive. So there must be an agenda, there must be an objective. Only then a meeting should be scheduled. But if meeting is scheduled and no agenda has been set, then it's sheer wastage of time. And then these meetings becomes huge time wasters. Why do we meet? It's a necessary evil, no doubt. Everywhere it takes place, whether between the countries, inside the company, even in the family also it happens. We meet and our own relatives and friends and other people, and then we discuss many things. And there can be a number of reasons for which a meeting can be organized. It can be in a cooperative society also. Society members who also come together every week or once in a fortnight or month to discuss the society issues. There can be a number of meetings which can be basically conducted. So sometimes we need to create a list of these meetings, and then we have to find in exact sense what has gone wrong with them, what has gone right with them, how much was the productivity, how effective it was, and whether these meetings should be held with the same frequency of, say, once in a week, or once in a fortnight, or once in a, we can say, a month or something like. So all these things will emerge only when you have made a proper assessment that meetings productive or effective or efficiency which has been assessed properly. So information exchange do take place, and collaboration sessions are also there. So plannings also can be done. Lot many things can be there. It can be effective meeting if done properly with an agenda, and when all people come prepared. If some people come unprepared, then what will happen? I have seen many times in many offices that immediately the meetings or urgent meetings are being called, agendas are poorly set, and the people who come, who are expected to come into the meeting with some kind of stats or statements or datas, they don't have on their hand, and then again the people get dispersed to come back maybe within 3 days or 4-5 days again to just realign the things. But then if such kind of things do take place, then we are encouraging the time wasters. Then we'll come to, after that, there are a lot of material available. When PPTs are with you, you can really go through them. Some more points are given about the meeting management. And then I also talked about use of technology yesterday. As we are evolving more and more and getting dependent on more and more, and I believe your mail systems, your telephone calls, your fax messages, or any other kind of advanced technology of communication which are being used inside the corporate offices are basically assets. But over dependence on that one, then it causes the problem. I remember I was delivering a seminar somewhere on some subject with a, I think, insurance company, I believe. And we had those seminars at 2 places in Gujarat. We had done the seminars on one day, and then we traveled to other city. And what exactly happened on that very first day, one of my fellow person who was also a faculty, and he asked me, sir, you don't use laptop much. I say yes, in the public meetings, because I am ex-tempo speaker, motivational speaker. I don't use technology much, because in the soft skill sessions and the motivational sessions or otherwise the keynote addresses, I don't require the help of technology. And then he said, if you rely less on technology, it may create some kind of handicaps for you. I said, if I rely too much on the technology, sometimes it may backfire on me also. He said, it's not like that, what you say. I didn't say anything because I knew what had happened with me many times before. And very next day, when we were in another big city of Gujarat, and my session was in afternoon, so I had get up in the morning and I was just sitting in lawns and having my cup of tea. I had got up quite late actually. And then there is a hall in front of, which is around 30-40, you can say, yards away, because it was a 5-star resort. And then a lot of people started coming out of the hall, and I asked them what happened. He said, the light is not available, light has gone. Some light has tripped. I say, but then there might be some genset or something like. They said genset is not working properly. So sometimes these human problems, machine problems do happen in our life. We should be always ready for that. And this another person who was with me the previous day also, he was to give the morning presentation. And I was simply just sitting on the chair with my shorts on and t-shirts were there. And after some time he also came out. And he said, due to the light not available and the mic is not working and 100 people are there, so I won't be able to present. And then he asked me sheepishly that since you don't use technology much, but it's not that I am not using the technology, I do use the technology, but I don't become over dependent on technology. And then he said, is it possible that you take the session in the morning time, and by the time it's afternoon, I'll take it, and hope the light situation will improve and things can be handled very easily. I didn't say. I had a broad smile on my face, and then sheepishly that boy said, that other faculty, sir, what you said yesterday, today I am realizing. And then within few minutes I got ready, and then I went there, delivered the session without mic and without any laptop, without any technology. It was a winter session, so there was not much heat or something like. So I called the people nearby, and then we started talking slightly in the higher tone. So message went to everybody. It means sometimes the life creates the situation which sometimes is out of our hand. But we must basically develop the skill sets and also the willingness to face the challenges. Now, these are the challenges which cannot be counted in the ideal life. These are the challenges which can come from any corner, whether it's a technology failure, whether it's something else. Think in a hospital, if very necessary operation is on, and then immediately light goes off, and some necessary, you can say, the systems which are working on the you can say power, they stop working. What will be the state of patients? But the doctors or the surgeons who are very able, they know that how with the minimum of the technology, minimum of the help from the other instruments, they can still do the wonders and save the patient till the time the power is restored back. So technology means what? That we should not be over dependent on technology. We should not become subjugated to technology, because the artificial intelligence about which I talked a great deal yesterday, and I said this mobile phone, yes, this mobile phone is basically a fabulous piece of artificial intelligence in your hands, and it has subjugated you people a great deal. Now you can't live without it. You get messages, you can read newspapers here, you can get any kind of information you want in your life. It's possible. You just put the keywords and results will be there, whether it's a GPS system or something else. But again, I'll emphasize, don't become subjugated. Try to keep a balance between your emotions and machines. Let machines not overpower you. Let machines be machines. You don't become, you can say, let machines should not become your masters. I'm not saying that you should become masters, but you should know how to keep the balance. You should know how to create a combination of, you can say, computer systems, or this, you can say, machine systems, and your own personal, you can say, life is concerned. So there has to be a difference between personal and professional life also, and then this balance has to be kept by you. And this balance basically is, in real terms, time management, that you are not dependent much and you depend on your own brain power. So technology, which is basically very handy for us, a boon for us, technology can be something which can really kill us also, and it's killing already actually. So advice basically is, in so-called domain of the time management, that if you are committed to something, keep it up. Commitment is one of the huge words in English dictionary. Either don't make a commitment. If you have made it, then you cannot back out. After a promise you can back out, but after a commitment you cannot break out. After a commitment you cannot just back out. Promise basically people do make and then break, because there is no trust in that one. There is no, you can say, value system in that one. So lot many people do make the promises in the morning and then they break in the evening. A lot of people make the promises on the eve of New Year that we will do something from the 1st of January next year, or very next day you can say, but they forget everything, they break it. But a commitment cannot be broken, come what may. It's basically your soul, it's basically your value system. Either commit or don't commit. The choice is there with you people, there's no doubt. So whatever you are doing, never forget it has got two forms of returns. Either you will succeed with it or you will fail with it. If I'm saying something right now, it will be liked by some people or may not be liked by some people. Any of your action will result into some kind of reaction, in some kind of dividend, good or bad, pass or fail. It is not that if you say something or you do something or act something, it won't be having the returns. It will have returns. If suppose I am speaking, say last 1 hour and I've spoken good words, so people won't notice that. But I speak one bad word and that will be remembered by each and every one. Look at a newspaper, a newsreader on the television, and smoothly the person, newsreader, male or female, reading the news for say hours and hours together, but in between sometime she or he can fumble and you remember that fumble. So human beings are basically in habit of forgetting all good things and recollecting and remembering the wrong things. And your words are like just, you can say, like arrows which have gone out of, you can say, your bow. So once the words go out, they never come back. Once the arrow has gone out of the bow, it never comes back. So in simple words, be careful. Because communication in any domain is one of the most effective tool which can make or break you. On time management, a lot of books are also available. Thousands of books are available actually in real terms. But like 1 Minute Manager, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by management guru Stephen Covey, who's no more right now. He died some time back. And I have read this book many times and I have found it as a Bible of management. Because it has given something, a huge foundation to our, you can say, value system, to our thinking process. That how a person comes first, the values comes first, and your all structures, systems, goals, objectives, methodologies, they are all secondary. The primary thing is a human being. We are human beings. I'm speaking to human beings. And I'm catering to not just human beings, I'm catering to your emotions also. It's your emotions which are coming in picture. Had you been only machines, then you wouldn't have been here. You wouldn't have been listening to me. Then they are right for robotics. One robot here and one robot there. There are no sensibilities there. I think one person, Farhana Muhammad Khan. Good evening, sir. Please give link for PPT. And I'll ask the technical team experts to just give you the link so that they can do it. Don't worry. They are being repeatedly given to you people. So it will be given to you. So Stephen Covey, we will be talking in detail that how he has created a new paradigm in the world of management. How management things have been rewritten by this great genius. His 7 habits of the highly effective people. I mean, it's one of the rare books which have been sold in millions in many languages. And I think those management students who are here attending this session, if they really want to understand the time management, if they want to value the time, they must read this book. Though there are many books available, I won't say that this is the very, you can say, specific in that lot. There are more books also, many other books are also available. But this book is one of the very initial and primary books which opens a Pandora's box of your mind. You start thinking in a different way. You start thinking in a manner which is, you can say, which has the power to create a paradigm shift in your life. Stephen Covey has structured the things. Stephen Covey has given you the things in such a manner that it shakes your head. And they're so simple. If you go through your own life experience, you'll find that most of the scientific hypotheses or so-called theorems are extremely easy. Yes, extremely easy. But only a genius can create the simplest of the thing. Think of a person in a Hindi Sahitya, Hindi literature, Premchand. Premchand is regarded as one of the genius in Hindi literature. Genius. And his stories, his novels, his entire literature is in simple language, in a common man's language. Only a genius can write, not a complicated person. If a genius can create such kind of literature, Hindi literature, it means the scientific theorems, whether Pythagoras theorem or something else, those scientists are also genius. And these genius people have burnt their midnight oil to create these theorems. And these theorems are backbone of the science of today. So, Stephen Covey also has done the same thing. He has written in simplest of manner some of the management principles, that what comes first, what comes second, what comes third, and what are your public victories and what are your private victories. I'll be speaking on this one in detail after a short break just now, and then you will be able to understand that time management has to be understood in a way that is possible to create a huge shift in the life. If you can value it, if you can assess it, if you can do it, then nothing like it. So with these words, we will take a short break, and after short break, I'll be again back with you people on Stephen Covey's these principles, these 7 habits, about which I'll be explaining to you in detail. Thank you very much, and be glued to the screens also. We'll be back very shortly. Thanks.